card stacked from top to bottom. Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje is going to be incredible. And I'm going to take you through all the action step by step as every fight goes on. I'm going to give you a breakdown, tell you who won, who did what wrong, who was amazing, and all the rest of it. So let's get started. Alright, so we just did an hour-long broadcast hyping up the main card, but the first fight of the prelims is just about to start. Now, if you didn't know, obviously it's on...
Alright, so this whole event, this loud, chaotic spectacle, didn't just end, it cracked the division straight down the middle, leaving one side stunned and the other quietly bracing for fallout. The result was so controversial that whispers started instantly, not just online chatter, but serious talk about something almost unthinkable, a potential reversal. Yes, overturned. But before you rush to judgment, you have to rewind the tape, because buried inside the chaos was a blink and you miss it moment that changed the meaning of everything you thought you saw. One exchange, one split second, and the narrative detonated. Now the consequences are leaking out slowly, crawling from the shadows, reshaping opinions, raising questions, and threatening to spill far beyond this single night.
Now, if you didn't know, obviously it's on Paramount Plus. Things have changed. No more pay-per-view, of course. We all know that. The bonuses have been doubled, and any fight's a bonus or not. If you get a finish, lights have gone dark. If you get a finish, you get a $25,000 bonus as well. As we can see, first fight of the night, Ty Miller taking on Adam Fugit. Welterweight division. Ty Miller making his debut. I'll be back to you in a second when this one's played out. Fugit just landed a nice spinning elbow, didn't land flush, but Ty Miller putting it together nicely. Still play. Oh! Drops him hard!
I'm telling you, this controversy, this slow burn argument that finally boiled over, it didn't start with punches or wild exchanges at all. It started quieter, darker, and way more unsettling. It started with fingers. Open fingers, drifting casually, almost lazily, into a space they should never enter inside that cage. And when Justin Gaethje's hand slid straight into Paddy Pimblett's eye, the air changed instantly. You could feel it ripple through the arena before the referee even processed what was happening, before he could take a single step. There was this split second where everyone knew something was wrong, but nobody knew how bad it would get. Chaos has a sound, a specific kind of noise, and that night it was thousands of people inhaling at once, realizing in real time that the fight had just tilted off its axis. In that blink, the rules blurred, momentum cracked, and a moment that should have passed quietly instead lodged itself into the spine of the contest. Because once that line is crossed, even accidentally, you can't rewind it. You can only watch as doubt creeps in, as narratives fracture, and as the sense settles in that something irreversible may have just rewritten everything you thought you were watching.
He's underway, and it looks like this one could be over because Hokit is all over Freeman here. Took him down, he's pounding him, ragdolling him around, landing big shots, ground and pound. There's still just over a minute left in the round, but it is not looking good for Denzel Freeman. Anyway, I got to get back to the desk. So, hold on. Say hello, everybody. There we go. Yeah, here we are on the not the ESPN desk, the Paramount desk, the UFC 324. What do we think, boys?
And come on, you saw it too, didn't you? Don't pretend you didn't. You did exactly what everyone else did. You froze the screen. You leaned closer. You squinted like that would somehow change what was already burned into the frame. You rewound it, then rewound it again, because it wasn't subtle. It was right there, staring back at you from every angle. Clean, ugly, and impossible to explain away. And the moment the referee, Mark Goddard, finally stepped in, the tension didn't release, it mutated. It grew teeth. Because instead of relief, the pause only made things worse. The crowd didn't settle, it stiffened. The energy shifted from shock to suspicion. Suddenly the question wasn't just what happened a second ago. It was what was about to happen next, and whether the line everyone thought existed had quietly disappeared. In that suspended moment, fairness felt negotiable, momentum felt poisoned, and every decision moving forward carried weight it never should have had. That's when the fight stopped being just a fight and started becoming something else entirely, something uncomfortable, something people would argue about long after the cage lights went dark.
Dropped him in the first round with a beautiful left up, and then just went on the attack, gave him no respect whatsoever, beat him like he owed him money, beat him like he was talking shit about his mom, because we know everyone's getting offended at that stuff these days. I'm telling you, Alex Perez just came back with a bang. Yeah, he missed weight, He dropped him with a left hook, picked him apart, beautiful boxing. The referee, Jason Herzog, steps in at the end, pushes Alex Perez away to save Charles Johnson from any more damage. 3 first-round knockouts in a row. Next fight, Modestas Bukauskas taking on Nikita Krylov. I love Modestas. Nice guy. He's on a roll. I think he's won 4.
Think about it for a second. Paddy clutching his eye, folding inward, wincing with that sharp, involuntary kind of pain you cannot fake even if you wanted to. That was not theater, not camera awareness, not some Oscar audition under bright lights. That was reflex, raw and human. And then look across from him. Gaethje standing there frozen, almost too still, unnervingly composed, his expression giving absolutely nothing away. That calm was not innocence either. It was something colder. The kind of stillness you see from fighters who know exactly where the line is and are comfortable leaning over it. Not stumbling past it, not panicking, but hovering there, daring someone else to stop them. That moment carried an unspoken gamble. A quiet bet that the referee would hesitate, that authority would blink first, that enforcement would soften under pressure. And here's the uncomfortable part. Tell me it didn't feel rehearsed, or at least disturbingly normalized. Not planned in a scripted sense, but accepted in a way that feels worse. Because in that split second, when nothing happened fast enough, the fight stopped feeling clean. Something shifted. The air changed. And once you notice that shift, you can't unsee it. That's when doubt creeps in, slow and corrosive, and that's exactly where everything started to unravel.
Big fan of Modestas, lovely guy, but Krylov is a really tough guy. Modestas will learn from it, he'll be back. After that, we had a very, very scary Atabi Gaethje going up against Andre Puyaev. Now, normally, Atabi Gaethje knocks people out first round, 1 shot is all it takes. The fight starts, 1 shot drops Puyaev, but Puyaev gets back to his feet, didn't he, Chris?
This is the best YouTube channel ever, bro.
It is.
It's amazing.
You know,
I think you should be streaming live. I think the fans would love it.
No, we're not messing around, Chris, although we did do a demo yesterday.
We did do it with them.
I think people got excited.
And this is where the narrative, this tangled, uncomfortable story really clamps down, because the moment didn't fade, it sharpened. The commentators, live on air, didn't hedge or dance around it, they said it plainly, almost recklessly, I poke, with no hesitation, no softening of the words. And right there, in that split second, the entire broadcast shifted gears. What had been technical breakdowns and neutral observations suddenly morphed into something heavier, something closer to a public reckoning playing out in real time. You could feel it through the screen, that subtle but irreversible turn. The arena's energy changed, not with a roar, but with a slow collective tightening, like thousands of people arriving at the same uncomfortable conclusion at once. Because once fans believe they are watching something unjust, something that crosses the invisible line of fairness, the fight stops being just a fight. It becomes a memory stamped with suspicion. That perception doesn't fade with replays or official results. It sticks. It stains everything that follows. And no matter how many explanations come later, once that image forms in the mind, once that feeling locks in, people don't rewind it away. They carry it forward. They argue it. They relive it. And that's how moments like this outlive the final bell, long after the cage is empty and the lights go down.
And I do believe I'm going to get an exclusive. The first ever interview. Here he is. Here he is. Look at this guy.
If there's one guy who could pimp me out, it would be this guy.
Oh, 100%. Dominic, how's it feel, buddy?
I don't know, man. You tell me. How did it feel for you, honestly? Let's see if we can relate on this. For you, how was it?
Well, let's do this from both
that,
on. Well, that's very kind of you. It was a shock, but I don't know if I expected it, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean? I was like, I paid my dues.
Yeah.
I fought for long enough.
Yeah.
I've got the injuries.
And then, almost on cue, it finally happened. The referee stepped in and delivered the decision everyone was waiting for, a warning. Just a warning. No point taken, no real consequence, no visible attempt to rebalance what had just gone wrong. And this is the part you have to really sit with, because it's the part nobody in the sport likes to say out loud. That choice, or more accurately the absence of a stronger choice, didn't stay contained in that moment or that round. It spread. Instantly. Quietly. It rewrote the rest of the fight in real time. From that second forward, the rules inside that cage subtly changed, not on paper, but in practice. Both fighters felt it. The corners felt it. Even the referee felt it. Everyone suddenly understood where the line was, how far it could be pushed, and what would actually happen if it was crossed again. That knowledge altered behavior, risk, confidence, and restraint. It planted a new dynamic that could not be undone once the action resumed. The fight kept moving, but something fundamental had shifted underneath it, like a floor that no longer felt solid. And once that realization settles in, you start to understand why the fallout didn't wait until the scorecards. It began right there, the moment authority blinked, and everyone inside the cage knew it.
After the fight, John Silver likes a good cry. Before the fight, on the way to the fight, in the fight, during the fight, after the fight, speaking to Joe Rogan, then he apologizes to Arnold Allen for no reason whatsoever. Joe Rogan insisted on knowing why, but he wouldn't give him an answer because John Silver's mental, and that's why we love him.
But why was he apologizing?
So congrats to John Silver, or Lord Silver, and commiserations to Arnold. But Arnold, if you see this, be proud of yourself, man. John Silver he's a madman. He's technical, he's powerful, and you pushed him to the absolute limit, and that was a tremendous matchup. Right, we're moving on.
And then, right on schedule, it finally landed. The referee stepped in and issued the ruling everyone was bracing for, a warning. Only a warning. No point gone, no real penalty, no visible effort to restore the balance that had just been broken. And this is the moment you need to sit with, because it's the part no one in this sport wants to admit out loud. That decision, or more precisely the refusal to make a harsher one, did not stay trapped in that exchange or that round. It leaked outward. Immediately. Silently. It rewrote the fight as it was still being written. From that second on, the rules inside the cage changed, not officially, not formally, but functionally. Both fighters sensed it. The corners clocked it. Even the referee felt the weight of it. Everyone now knew exactly where the boundary was, how far it could be bent, and what would actually happen if it was tested again. That realization reshaped behavior, altered risk tolerance, shifted confidence, and dulled restraint. It introduced a new undercurrent that could never be fully erased once the action restarted. The fight continued, sure, but the foundation beneath it no longer felt stable, like standing on a surface that suddenly gives just enough to make you uneasy. And once that truth settles in, you understand why the fallout didn't wait for the judges. It started right there, the instant authority hesitated, and everyone inside that cage felt it.
It was a high-paced, highly technical affair, but I think the judges got it wrong. But hey, listen, fair play to Natalia Silva, commiserations to Thug Rose, a great fight regardless. All right, so Derek Lewis just got knocked out by the Salsa Boy in the second round. Derek Lewis, of course, the knockout king. He was trying to knock out Waldo Cortez Acosta with every single bloody shot that he threw. I can't walk that way. There's fans that are going to accost me, like Waldo Acosta, Cortez Acosta. Listen, Waldo was more technical. He was throwing the jab. He was nice 1-2s, going to the body.
Now ask yourself this, honestly, without dodging it. If that exact same eye poke landed on a different fighter, in a different city, under a different banner, does the referee still swallow the whistle and let it breathe with nothing more than a warning? Because right now fans are connecting dots they should never have to connect, and I guarantee somewhere backstage, at this very moment, someone is hoping certain angles never get slowed down again, praying those frames stay buried. You think this controversy ends with the final horn and the scorecards, but it doesn't, not even close. From that instant forward, every exchange, every jab, every scramble gets filtered through the stain of that foul. Every wobble feels suspect, every surge of momentum carries an asterisk, and even Justin's dominance starts wearing a shadow that grows sharper the longer the replays circulate. What keeps gnawing is the silence afterward. No apology, no explanation, not even a careless excuse, just nothing. And silence in this sport is never empty, it's loaded. Whispers are already floating about things said between rounds, swelling doctors didn't show, assessments kept off camera. Paddy surviving became the headline, but surviving through what exactly? Fighting with compromised vision isn't toughness, it's desperation, and the crowd knew it. They weren't booing a fighter, they were booing the feeling of being played. History remembers nights like this. And here's the thought that won't go away. What if that foul wasn't the plan, but the insurance? Not the strategy, but the safety net veterans reach for when rhythm slips. People are saying commissions are reviewing tape, doctors raised concerns, footage exists we haven't seen. I don't know what's true yet, but I know this story isn't done breathing. Even the win announcement felt rushed, like everyone wanted to move on before the questions got louder. But questions pile up, and when they fall, they crush legacies. Maybe Justin wins anyway. Maybe he was better regardless. That's not the point anymore. One moment hijacked everything, and now no one controls where this goes. This fight isn't history, it's a live wire. And something tells me the next revelation hits harder than anything that landed. Because moments like this expose the fragile contract between fighters, referees, and fans. We believe in fairness until something snaps. Once doubt sets in, it never fully leaves. The more you watch that replay, the less accidental it feels, and that's dangerous. People want clean endings, but this sport lives in gray. And when enforcement wavers, that gray turns dark. Veterans know the line, and sometimes they step just past it. Paddy earned respect fighting on, but it also raised a question. How much damage are we willing to normalize to keep the show moving? The best fighters deserve the best oversight. When that blinks, the sport trembles. Fans aren't stupid. Collective unease comes from something real. Highlight reels can skip discomfort, but it leaks through. This sport already fights perception battles, and nights like this hand critics ammunition. Careers have shifted on less. Fighters watch closely and learn what gets punished and what doesn't. Silence teaches louder than fines. I don't want overturned results for drama, I want transparency. Because normalization is the real tragedy. When moments like this stop shocking, the sport loses part of its soul. MMA thrives on danger, but there's a line between danger and negligence. Nights like this force us to ask who guards that line. Families watching don't see content, they see someone they love bleeding. Years from now people won't remember technique, they'll remember that something felt off. Fighters deserve better memories than controversy. Fans deserve trust, not endless debates. Until enforcement tightens, this keeps happening, shaving away belief. And trust is the one thing this sport cannot afford to keep losing.